Martinez. My case is called College Information Support and Opportunities for All, and I'm at Texas State University in San Marcos. This is my third year. And the case is actually based on some of my own dissertation work on the college choice process of Latino students in South Texas. And so what I was really interested in looking at in my dissertation was essentially the sources of support and college information and knowledge that students were able to access both within and outside the school setting. And so essentially this case draws on interviews with 10 students at one particular school in the region, as well as an interview with one of the high school counselors there. And really highlights some of the difficulties on a campus in terms of creating a college-going culture that school leaders can often face to make sure that they are equitably and systemically providing the same types of college resources and information and support for all students. I think it's really useful, particularly for future school leaders, so that they can reflect on their own roles in their schools. And even if they're not currently school leaders and they're in any kinds of positions, whether it's at the district level or at a campus level, they're able to basically look at, they probably want to look at one particular campus or wherever they're at and what role they're taking in creating that kind of college-going culture. At the end of the case, there's actually a situation that occurs that kind of leaves you hanging almost, where there's a district level college fair that's offered, and students are able to go from each high school in the district. Although there's only transportation to this college fair to accommodate for 250 students, which seems kind of inequitable when you consider that the senior class of this particular high school was composed of, I believe, like 600 or more students. So, what is that really saying in terms of we're having this college fair and we're really trying to promote college readiness, but at the same time we're only making it available to 250 students. So what is that? What does that mean? And so in the case, there's some students that find some alternative means of going to that college fair, which is during the day, which can really pose some safety issues and issues of leaving class when they weren't supposed to, etc. But really, they were well-intentioned because they were wanting to go access information that they were not able to get otherwise on their campus. So again, I think the case lends itself particularly to secondary school leaders, but can also be very much accessible and utilized by elementary and middle school school leaders, and then definitely district level leaders would be interested in kind of knowing, okay, if we're going to offer support and resources, how can we do this in the most equitable way for all students on the campuses? I offered some, within the case, there's different kinds of frameworks that are offered, both in some of the background work done on how to create a college-going culture. And so in terms of some of the teaching notes that are in the case, definitely instructors can utilize some of these frameworks to really help guide students in trying to figure out, okay, what are some of the key aspects of creating a college-going culture? Because I feel like often we use creating a college-going culture or college readiness as terms rather loosely, and we just assume that we all have an understanding of what that means. And so I think that's a very good place to start, is kind of basically understanding what are we talking about when we say college-going culture, and what are we talking about when we say trying to get people to be students to be college ready. So in terms of the teaching notes, I offer several some frameworks that can be utilized by students. I also offer or suggest the use of YASO's Community Cultural Wealth Framework as well, to kind of take another critical spin in trying to get a sense of, okay, what are some of the systemic issues that could be going on the campus, and what are the resources of students and families that perhaps we're not utilizing, and even the resources in terms of our teachers and our counselors that we're not using to then really build that college-going culture and college readiness. So those are some of those key resources that I offered in the teaching notes.